All right, so everyone's talking about this massive AI project called Stargate, and today we're going to dive deep into what it means for you.
Yeah, and we've got expert analysis from financial analysts, we've got insights from CEOs, and we even have a soundbite from Trump himself.
Really? Wow. So this is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we're going to unpack all the hype, figure out who the players are, and see how it could impact the economy and your investments.
So the Stargate project, I mean, the numbers are pretty eye-popping.
$100 billion right out of the gate.
Yeah, and aiming for like what, 500 billion? Eventually. It's kind of hard to ignore that.
And it's not just about the money. It signals a shift in the economic landscape. AI isn't just a buzzword anymore, it's the driving force.
Yeah, it seems like every analyst out there is practically giddy about this.
Right. Even with all the talk about Trump's return and his tariff pronouncements, the market seems laser focused on one thing: artificial intelligence.
That's a really good point.
And we've got a quote here from Mark Malik. He's Siebert's chief investment officer, and he says, "There are no other sectors that have the type of upside that is now offered by this AI ecosystem."
Wow. So he's basically saying there's no other sector right now with this much potential for growth.
Exactly.
So, okay, AI is the big story, but what does that actually mean for everyday investors like me? Should I be dumping all my stocks and buying up shares of Nvidia?
Hold on there. While it's tempting to jump on the bandwagon, diversification is still key. Mega cap tech companies, those giants like Nvidia, are definitely riding the AI wave.
Right.
But don't overlook the smaller companies that are poised to benefit.
Okay.
Think of it like a rising tide lifts all boats, but some boats are better equipped to handle the waves than others.
So don't put all my eggs in the AI basket.
That's right.
Got it. But speaking of unexpected winners, can we talk about Netflix for a second? They absolutely blew past subscriber estimates this quarter. Seems like their move into live events like the FIFA Women's World Cup
Yeah.
really paid off.
Yeah. Absolutely. And analyst Michael Pachter highlights that Netflix is finally getting smart about how they approach sports programming.
Yeah.
Instead of spending billions on full season rights, they're strategically selecting special events that provide both live viewership and long-term content value.
So it's kind of like buying a classic movie that people are going to watch over and over again versus just renting something for one night.
Exactly. It's like the difference between buying a Beyoncé concert, which people will watch again and again, versus a single NFL game.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I mean,
Yeah.
spending $150 million for one football game seems a bit much, even for Netflix.
It does.
It really does feel like they're becoming the one-stop shop for all kinds of entertainment these days.
It seems so. Their aim is to be the ultimate entertainment hub, and they're making some impressive strides.
Right. And their subscriber growth is phenomenal, especially with that new lower-priced ad-supported plan.
Oh, yeah, that's a game changer.
Yeah, and now they're even increasing the price of their standard plan to $17.99 a month.
Wow.
But they're keeping the ad-supported option at a reasonable $7.99.
So they're really trying to appeal to everyone, which is a smart move in such a competitive market.
For sure, but let's not forget that there are other big developments happening. Trump just announced that tariffs are back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 10% on goods from China, 25% on Mexico and Canada.
It sounds like a potential trade war is brewing.
Yeah, it definitely shook things up a bit.
Well, it's not quite that simple. Analyst Jeff Krumpelman points out that imposing global tariffs would require congressional approval, which isn't a given.
Okay, so maybe not a full-blown trade war just yet.
Right. This could be more about strategic negotiations, at least for now.
Okay, that's a good point. But even if it's just a tactic, tariffs can still impact the economy, right?
Absolutely. But, looking at historical data, tariffs haven't always had the drastic inflationary effects. Some people fear the U.S. economy is robust, especially in sectors that are focused domestically.
So maybe it's not time to panic just yet.
Exactly.
But the Stargate project, it feels like it could be a major turning point. It is. It's not just about tariffs. It's about reshaping the entire AI landscape.
Okay, so let's dig into that a little bit more.
All right.
Who are the major players involved in this Stargate project?
Well, we're talking about some heavy hitters like SoftBank,
Okay.
this global investment giant known for backing game-changing technologies.
Right.
Then you have Oracle, a long-standing tech company that's quietly transformed itself into a cloud computing giant.
And they've been doing pretty well, haven't they?
They have Oracle stock is already reflecting the excitement. They're up almost 7% today and an incredible 67% over the past year.
Wow, that's a pretty stealthy climb.
It is. And then, of course, there's OpenAI, the nonprofit research lab behind ChatGPT, which has basically taken the world by storm.
Oh yeah, everyone's talking about ChatGPT.
With its ability to generate human-like text, it's really incredible.
Yeah, so those are some really big names, and I bet this is just the beginning. We'll probably see other tech companies like Microsoft, Google, even Amazon wanting a piece of the pie.
Oh, almost certainly. This is like a race to stake a claim in the AI frontier, and no one wants to be left behind.
It's like the gold rush of the digital age.
Exactly. And it's not just about private companies. The government is playing a key role too,
How so?
offering incentives and potentially even regulatory support to speed up this AI build-out.
So this feels like a major push for American innovation, a way to reclaim leadership on the global tech stage.
It does, but are there potential downsides?
Hmm.
Could this lead to an AI arms race, like a digital version of the Cold War?
That's a pretty unsettling thought.
It is. As AI becomes more powerful, it also becomes a potential weapon, both literally and figuratively.
Right, and we've already seen examples of AI being used for things like spreading disinformation.
Exactly, or launching cyber attacks, even developing autonomous weapon systems.
Wow. Okay, so while this Stargate project holds incredible promise, it also raises some serious questions.
It does. Questions about ethics and security.
Right, so how do we ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's being hotly debated right now. Some experts are calling for strict regulations,
Okay.
even international treaties to govern AI development. Others argue that too much regulation will stifle innovation and give China an advantage.
Yeah, it's a tough balancing act.
It is. We want to encourage innovation, but not at the cost of our safety and security.
Right.
It's a delicate balance for sure.
So what does all of this mean for investors like you and me? How do we navigate this rapidly changing AI landscape?
First, don't panic.
Okay.
Don't let the hike dictate your investment decisions. Focus on building a diversified portfolio that includes both mega-cap tech companies, those giants we talked about earlier, and smaller, more agile players in the AI space.
So a mix of the established titans and the up-and-coming disruptors.
Precisely, think of it like a balanced meal. You need both the sustained energy from complex carbohydrates and the quick boost of simple sugars.
Okay, that's a good analogy. I like that.
In the AI world, mega-caps provide stability while the smaller companies offer potential for rapid growth.
Makes sense. But how do we identify those smaller companies that are worth investing in? They're not exactly household names.
Right, that's where research and due diligence come in. Look for companies that are developing unique AI applications, especially in key sectors like healthcare,
Right.
finance, and cybersecurity.
So unique applications in key sectors. Got it, but there's another piece of the puzzle, right? The infrastructure itself.
You got it. The physical infrastructure that supports the digital world is just as important. Things like data centers, fiber optic cables, semiconductor chips. These are the building blocks that allow AI to function.
So we're not just talking about software companies, but
Yeah.
also the hardware and infrastructure providers that make it all possible.
Exactly. Companies like American Tower, which owns and operates cell towers and data centers, are well positioned to benefit from this AI-driven build-out.
It's interesting. So real estate, especially the kind that houses those data centers, is becoming incredibly valuable in this digital age.
It is. It's not just about the physical space, it's about the power and connectivity those data centers provide. They're the lifeblood of the AI ecosystem.
Wow. So if we connect this back to Stargate,
Yeah.
it's not just about developing cutting-edge AI, it's about building the entire ecosystem around it.
Right. The software, the hardware, the infrastructure.
It's a truly ambitious undertaking.
And a potentially lucrative one for investors who know where to look. But let's not forget the other big topic we touched on earlier, tariffs. While the market might be fixated on AI right now, Trump's moves on Paris could still have a major impact on the economy.
Right, we can't ignore that. So let's shift gears for a minute and take a closer look at what these tariffs could mean for different sectors and industries.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay.
So let's start with the obvious sectors that rely heavily on imports like manufacturing and retail are likely to take the biggest hit.
Okay.
They'll face higher costs for raw materials and finished goods, which could squeeze their profits and potentially lead to higher prices for consumers.
So companies that make or sell products made overseas are going to feel the pressure.
Definitely.
But what about companies that primarily operate within the U.S.?
Well, they're in a better position, but not entirely immune. A trade war could still slow down the overall economy, leading to less consumer spending and potentially even job losses.
So there's a ripple effect. Even if a company isn't directly involved in importing or exporting goods, it could still be affected by the broader economic slowdown.
Exactly. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond. The initial splash is small, but the ripples spread out, affecting the entire pond.
That's a good analogy.
Thanks.
So given all this uncertainty, what's the best strategy for investors? Should we be battening down the hatches and waiting for things to blow over?
Not necessarily. Remember, the market tends to overreact to news, both good and bad. Instead of panicking, use this as a chance to reevaluate your portfolio and make sure it aligns with your long-term goals.
So take a deep breath. Avoid making rash decisions and stick to the fundamentals.
Exactly. And remember, opportunities always exist, even in uncertain times. If some sectors are struggling, others might benefit. For example, companies that focus on domestic production or offer products that can replace imported goods could see a surge in demand.
That makes sense. So instead of trying to time the market or predict the outcome of trade talks, it's better to focus on companies that are well equipped to handle whatever comes their way.
Precisely, look for companies with strong financial foundations, diverse sources of revenue, and a track record of navigating economic turbulence. They might not be the flashiest or most exciting investments, but they're the ones that will likely provide stability and growth in the long run.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from AI and tariffs to the possibility of a trade war and the importance of diversification. It's a lot to take in. What are your key takeaways from our deep dive so far? What stands out to you as particularly relevant or important?
Well, let me think about that for a second. You know, it's an important question because investing is ultimately about aligning your money with your values and your vision for the future.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, do you believe in the transformative potential of AI? Are you concerned about the risks of a tech Cold War?
Exactly. Those are the kinds of questions that should be guiding your investment decisions.
So it's not just about picking stocks. It's about participating in shaping the future.
Right.
It's about deciding what kind of world we want to live in and investing in companies that align with that vision.
Exactly. Remember, every investment is a vote of confidence.
Hmm.
When you buy a share of a company, you're essentially saying, I believe in what you're doing, so choose wisely.
Okay, so let's say I'm convinced that AI is the future, but I'm also a bit wary of the potential downsides. How do I even begin to find companies that are developing AI responsibly, ethically, sustainably?
That's a great question, and it's becoming increasingly crucial look for companies that are transparent about their AI development practices,
Okay.
companies that are engaging in open discussions about the ethical implications of their work, and are actively trying to minimize potential risks.
So companies that aren't just chasing profits, but also thinking about the broader societal impact of their technologies.
Precisely. And remember, this is an ongoing conversation.
Right.
The field of AI is evolving at an incredible pace, and what might seem like a responsible approach today could be outdated tomorrow.
Yeah, things are changing so quickly.
It's vital to stay informed, ask critical questions, and hold companies accountable for their actions.
So it's not a one-time research project. It's about staying engaged and adapting as the landscape shifts.
Exactly.
It feels like we're entering uncharted territory, and there's no clear roadmap for success.
That's true. There's no guaranteed formula, but that's also what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, I can see that.
We're on the verge of a technological revolution, and those who are willing to embrace change, to learn, and to adapt will be the ones who benefit the most.
So it's not about predicting the future. It's about preparing for it.
Exactly.
It's about equipping ourselves with the knowledge, skills, and mindset to thrive in a world that's being reshaped by AI.
Exactly. And that's where resources like the deep dive come in. We're here to help you navigate this complex and constantly evolving landscape, to provide insights and analysis, and to empower you to make informed decisions.
So whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting out, whether you're excited about AI or a bit apprehensive, remember one thing: knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
The more you understand about the forces shaping the world, the better equipped you'll be to make smart choices, both financially and personally.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive for today. We've covered a lot of ground, and I hope you found it both informative and thought-provoking.
I know I have, but as always, we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore, so many new developments on the horizon. We'll be watching the story closely and be back soon with more deep dives into the topics that matter most.
Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay ahead of the curve.
And don't forget to think about your own industry. How could AI disrupt it in the next 5 years? What opportunities or threats does it present? These are the questions that will shape the future and your place in it. We encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
I think the big takeaway here is that AI is no longer some futuristic concept.
Yeah,
It's here, it's now, and it's impacting every aspect of our lives.
it really is. I mean, from the way we work to the way we shop to the way we entertain ourselves, AI is changing everything.
And it's only going to accelerate from here. The advancements we're seeing in machine learning, natural language processing, and computer vision are mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to think about what the world might look like in 5 or 10 years.
It is, and that's why it's so important for investors to be paying attention. This
Well,
isn't just about tech companies anymore. AI is going to disrupt every industry imaginable.
so we need to be thinking about how AI is going to impact our own jobs, our own investments, our own lives.
Exactly, and it's not just about the potential profits. There are also significant risks to consider, things like job displacement, algorithmic bias, the potential for AI to be used for malicious purposes.
Right, so we need to be having these conversations about the ethical implications of AI.
We do, and we need to be demanding that companies develop and deploy AI responsibly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's also important to remember that AI is a tool, and like any tool can be used for good or for evil.
That's right. It's up to us to ensure that AI is used to benefit humanity and not to harm it.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of AI, what's the one piece of advice you would give to our listeners?
Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay ahead of the curve. This is a rapidly evolving field, and those who are willing to learn and adapt will be the ones who thrive.
Great advice. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI. We've covered a lot of ground, but as always, this is just the beginning.
It is. The AI revolution is just getting started, and we'll be here to guide you every step of the way.
So until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.